Hello everyone, welcome to the CodeVerse. In this video, we will be learning about why Java is a platform independent language. First, let's understand what is meant by platform independent. So normally when we write program, then our compiler or interpreter will convert that program into machine code and then our computer will execute it. Machine code is highly dependent upon the system that we are using as well as operating system of our computer. For example, consider if I have written a C++ program in my computer with Windows 10 operating system, then compiler will convert that program into machine language and then my system will execute it. Suppose if I want to run that machine code in some other system with a Linux operating system, then it will fail. If we want to run program on a computer with a Linux operating system, then we have to compile that program in Linux operating system only. That means program written in C++ is platform dependent, means depends upon the operating system of computer. Let's see how Java can solve this issue. Normally, when we write any program, then compiler or interpreter will convert that program into machine language and system will execute it. But Java execute programs slightly differently. Java compiler will first convert Java program into bytecode and then bytecode needs an interpreter for execution. That interpreter is called as JVM, that is Java Virtual Machine. So when you write a Java program, it will be only executed by JVM, that is Java Virtual Machine. Java program won't be executed by operating system. It will be executed only by JVM, and JVM is a different for different operating system. So Java uses Java C compiler for converting Java code into bytecode and then JVM, which is an interpreter, will execute that program. So Java uses compiler as well as interpreter. In case if you are wondering what is compiler and interpreter, then please watch my video on it. Hello everyone, welcome to the CodeVerse. In this video, we will be learning about compiler and interpreter. As we know, computer doesn't understand human language like English or Hindi. It only understands machine language, that is languages of zeros and ones. Machine language is very complicated to understand, so we cannot write code directly into it. That's why we have invented some high level language like C, C++, Java, which are easy to understand as well as readable. But as we know, computer doesn't understand human language. So we need some mechanism which will convert this high level language into machine language. Here, compiler and interpreter comes in a picture. This both converts our high level program into machine language. So, what is difference between compiler and interpreter? Let's understand this with the help of analogy. Consider a hotel named CodeVerse. Two waiters work over here named Rachel and Ross. Both has unique style of working. Ross has a very sharp memory. So, Ross takes all the order from customer and give the list of order to the chef and delivers all the order in one go. Suppose if customer order pizza, burger and coffee. So Ross will note down all the orders and give the list to the chef and deliver pizza, burger and coffee in one go. Consider a second waiter, Rachel. Rachel acts little differently with customer. She didn't take all the order in one go. She takes one order at a time and delivers that order. After successful delivery of a first order, then Rachel takes second order and so on. Consider the same order of pizza, burger and coffee. Rachel will first take order of pizza, give that order to the chef and deliver the pizza to customer. After successful delivery, then Rachel will take the second order, which is order of a burger and so on. Compiler acts similarly as a Ross. Means compiler takes all the code in one go, convert it to machine language and after conversion, it will give that code to the system for execution and then user can see output in one go. Interpreter acts like a Rachel. It takes one instruction at a time, convert it and gives output to the user. After successful execution of first instruction, interpreter converts second instruction to the machine language and so on. If error comes in some instruction, then interpreter stop its execution from that point, but it will generate the output of previous instruction. Like if error is coming in a fifth line, then you can see the output of first four line. But in compiler, if there is an error in fifth line, then it will not execute a program. So you won't see the output of first four line. C, C++ are the languages which uses compiler. Perl, Python are uses interpreter. That's it for today's video. If you like this video, then please subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Hello everyone, welcome to the CodeVerse. In previous video, we have learned about what is JVM and why we need it. In this video, we will be learning about Java Development Kit and Java Runtime Environment. So let's understand this with the help of analogy. Consider our hotel named CodeVerse. We have an excellent chef who can make a delicious food for us. It is just a matter of time when user gives an order and then chef will execute it and create a delicious food for that customer. But chef needs some tools like gas, knife, etc. for making a food. So we have prepared a kitchen for a chef which contains various tools used for cooking. Now, once food gets created, we need to serve this food in our hotel which has a multiple waiters and beautiful view where user can sit and enjoy the food. So our cook is a JVM which executes an order for us. Whenever Java wants to execute its new program, JVM will execute it. But JVM needs some tools to execute that program like libraries for a Java program and some other files also. So JVM plus libraries plus other files is called as Java Runtime Environment, that is JRE. JRE is same as a kitchen we define for our cook which has a libraries and files available for development. Apart from JRE, what we need is compiler and other development tools for running a Java program. So JRE plus development tool like Java compiler is called as a Java Development Kit, that is JDK. JDK has everything which we required to write and execute a program in Java. JDK is similar to our entire hotel which has a kitchen and chef inside it. That's it for today's video. If you like this video, then please subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Hello everyone, welcome to the CodeVerse. In this video, we will learn about what is meant by immutable strings and why strings are immutable in Java. So, what is meant by strings are immutable in Java? Immutable means once defined, we cannot change it. Consider a string str1 and initialize its value to string 1. So, strings are immutable. Does it mean I cannot change the value of str1 to something else? Actually no, I can change its value to something else by using simple equal to operator. So then what does immutable string means? Answer to this question lies in how strings are stored in a backend of Java. Java stores string in a separate space which is called as string pool. So when we initialize string 1 is equal to CodeVerse, then it will create an object in a string pool with a value as a CodeVerse and string 1 will point to that object. So now suppose we want to define another string with the same value, then another string won't create a separate object in a string pool. It will just point to the same old object. In our case, it is CodeVerse. Now, if I want to modify the value of string 1 to something else, then Java will create another object in string pool with value something else. In another programming languages, if we try to use equal to operator, then it will modify the existing value of a string. But in Java, instead of modifying the object value in string pool, Java creates a new object of that string. So, we cannot modify the objects in a string pool once created. That's why strings are immutable in Java. Now let's understand why Java developer decided to make strings immutable. First reason is to save memory. When we create 10 objects with the same value, then instead of creating 10 different objects, Java will create only one object in string pool and all 10 objects will point to it. So it saves a lot of memory. Second reason is Java uses multi-threading. If multiple threads are accessing the string and trying to modify its value at the same time, then it will create a serious security issues. So immutable strings makes multi-threading more efficient in Java. The third reason is string is used in many collections as a key of a collection. So if we keep modifying the string, then our collection will also get affected with it. So for efficient collection implementation, Java developer decided to make strings immutable. That's it for today's video. If you like this video, then please subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. Hello everyone, welcome to the CodeVerse. In this video, we will learn about what is constructor and why we need it. Let's understand why we need a constructor. Consider a class student which has a variable like name, college and date of birth. Now, I want to create two objects of the class student. When we create objects, the Java will create a separate copy of this variable for every object. For example, in the first object, value of the name variable is Ross, and for the second object, value of the name variable is Rachel. Now, you can see for every object, Java has created a separate copy of the variable and we need to initialize the value of this variable at the time of object creation. Here, constructor comes into the picture. Constructor helps us to initialize the value of a variables of a class. Constructor is a special function that has the same name as a class name, but it doesn't have any return type. Now consider we want to initialize the variables of the class student. We will pass 3 parameters to our constructor and set its value to the variable of a class. When we create a new object of a student class in our main method, then we have to pass these values as a parameter to the constructor. We don't have to explicitly call the constructor. It is the first function that gets automatically invoked when we create the object of a class. We can also set the value of variables with other methods, but we have to manually call them. The advantage of constructor over other method is that we don't need to call it. The constructor will automatically get invoked when the object of a class is created. So in this way, when new object is created, then constructor will initialize the values of the variables. There are 3 types of constructor. First is a default constructor. This constructor is created by Java compiler. If we don't create any constructor, then Java compiler will automatically create a constructor for us at the compile time. Second is a non-parameterized constructor. As the name suggests, this type of constructor doesn't accept any parameter. It is used if we want to set the default values or to print something at the time of object creation. Third and the last type is parameterized constructor. This type of constructor accepts the parameter and used to initialize the variable of a class at the runtime. That's it for today's video. If you like this video, then please subscribe to my channel. Hello everyone, welcome to the CodeVerse. In this video, we will learn about what is this keyword in Java and why we need to use it. Let's understand it with the help of example. Consider a class student which has a variable like name and college. Now, I want to initialize this variable at the time of object creation. So for it, I will create a constructor and pass 2 parameters to it. Let's consider the parameters as name and college. Now, you can see that name of our local parameters and our class variable is same. So if we try to update the class parameter like name is equal to name and college is equal to college, then Java will update the local parameter, not the class variables. So when you try to access name and college in some other function in Java, then Java will return a null value. Here, this keyword comes into the picture. Instead of writing name equal to name, we will write this dot name equal to name, and same for college. This keyword refers to the current object. So Java will understand that we are referring to the class variables. If name of parameters and class variables are different, then we don't need to use this keyword. Let's understand where else we can use this keyword. As we all know, when object of a class is created, then Java will make a copy of variables and function and then share that copy with the object. So this keyword is used to refer the current object. If you want to access the variable of a current object, then you will use this dot variable name. If you want to access the constructor inside another constructor, then you will use this function. For accessing parameterized constructor, you will simply pass the parameters to this function. That's it for today's video. If you like this video, then please subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. Hello everyone, welcome to the CodeVerse. In this video, we will learn about the difference between program, process and thread. We will also learn the real-life application of the threads in our YouTube application. First, let's understand what is program. Program is nothing but line of code that we write to achieve some task. Consider you want to write a Java code that will add 2 numbers. So, line of code you will write to achieve this task is called as program. The program is saved in hard disk. When you execute a program, then this program will be moved to the RAM and it will start executing. So, program in execution is called as process. Program is just a line of code that we write and it is stored in a hard disk. When executing this program, Java will ask for 2 numbers as an input and then display their addition. This program in execution is called as process. Now let's understand what is thread and why we need it. Threads are used when you want to perform multiple tasks at the same time. Let's understand this with the help of real life examples. Consider a YouTube video. So when you play YouTube video, there are lots of tasks going on at the same time, like playing video, showing related video, showing comments, showing ads, and you can see that all of these tasks are running at the same time. Here, threads comes into the picture. Threads help us to execute the multiple tasks at the same time, that is parallelly. You can write the code of a task and then execute it in a threads. So consider YouTube as a program in execution, that is process, and all these tasks as a thread. For example, you can create one thread for playing video, another thread for showing recommended video, another thread for showing comments, etc. Now let's understand some properties of a thread. One process can have multiple threads. Threads shares the code and data of the process, but threads have their own local variables and local memory. Process doesn't directly share data with another process. This makes thread more efficient than a process, and this is the reason why thread is called as lightweight process. Every time program executes, it is converted into process, and by default the process will create one main thread which will execute all of our code. So even if you are not manually creating thread, JVM or any other programming language will automatically create one main thread for you. That's it for today's video. If you like this video, then please subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. Hello everyone, welcome to the CodeVerse. In this video, we will understand the concept of inheritance with the real life examples. We will also learn about the types of inheritance in Java. So let's get started. Object-oriented programming is invented to solve real life problems. So all the concepts in object-oriented programming are inspired by the real life stories. Inheritance is also a concept that is taken from real life to solve complex problems in programming language. So before understanding inheritance in Java, we have to understand what is inheritance in real life. Consider Reliance Industry. It is one of the biggest companies in India, built by Mukesh Ambani. Mukesh Ambani spent millions of dollars and 50 years of his life to build the Reliance Industry. Now it's time for Mukesh Ambani to retire. Mukesh Ambani has son who will inherit Reliance Industry from his father. Means he doesn't have to work from a scratch to build the company. He can directly reuse his father's work and build his legacy on it. This concept, which allows us to inherit our father's money, property and efforts, is called as inheritance. This similar concept we can use in Java. Inheritance allows us to use the variables, methods of a one class in another class. Consider a class called addition, in which we have written a function that will add two numbers. Now we want to implement calculator, and while implementing the calculator we have to add two numbers. So we have already written the code for adding the two numbers in addition class. We can reuse this code using inheritance. Consider addition as a parent class and calculator as a child class. With the help of inheritance, we can use the method of addition class, which is a parent class, into calculator class, that is in the child class. After inheritance, we can use the method of addition class into calculator class without object creation. Now let's understand the syntax of inheritance. First, let's define the parent class called addition. We will define a method that will take two arguments and return its addition. Now let's define the child class calculator. Its syntax will be like normal class and it will have the methods like a normal class. Now we have defined both the classes. So let's inherit the calculator class from the addition class. To achieve this, we have to use extends keyword, and after extend keywords, we have to give the name of a parent class. That's all we have to do to implement inheritance. Now you can access the method of addition class into calculator class. Now let's take a look at the types of inheritance in Java. There are total 5 types of inheritance we can implement in Java. First type of inheritance is a single inheritance. In this type, one child class and one parent class is present, and child class can access all the methods and variable of a parent class. Please refer to the description for syntax. Second type is multi-level inheritance. In this type, we can go up to n level of inheritance. Means child class can also have a child class, that is a grandchild class, and this grandchild class can access all the properties of both parent and grandparent class. Third type is hierarchical inheritance. In this type of inheritance, parent class has 2 or more child classes, and both the child class can access to the properties of a parent class. Fourth type is multiple inheritance. In this type, one child class can have 2 parent classes, and the child class can use the variables and functions of both the parent classes. To implement this type of inheritance, we have to use a special class called interface. We will see the information about this type of inheritance in a separate video. The fifth and last type is hybrid inheritance. This type is a combination of 2 or more types of inheritance. For example, you can see that this inheritance is a combination of hierarchical and multi-level inheritance. That's it for today's video. If you like this video, then please subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. Hello everyone, welcome to the CodeVerse. In this video, we will learn about what is an array and why we need it. So let's understand why we need array with the help of example. Consider a program where we want to take 5 integer number as an input from user. So for saving this number, we need to create 5 integer variables. In future, instead of 5 numbers, if we want to take 10 numbers as an input, so we will create 10 integer variables. So as number increases, our line of code will also increase. Now consider an example where we want to ask user how many numbers he want to enter, and once user enter all the element, then we need to print these numbers. Here we don't know how many variables we need to create because user can enter any number. So we cannot create the variables at a runtime. Here array comes into the picture. Array is a collection of same type of elements. Now let's see how we can solve our problems with the help of array. So if we want to save 5 numbers, then we will create array of size 5 and save these integers in this array. Consider a name of our array as num. Index of an array starts from 0. Means if you want to access the element at the first position, then you will use num of 0. This will return the first element in an array. If you want to access second element, then we will use num of 1 and so on. Similarly, if you want to save something in an array, you can use indexes. Like for saving something at the 0th position, you can use num of 0 equal to any number that you want. Similarly, you can save the values at other indexes also. So index of an array starts from 0, and this is the reason why everyone says that if you are a programmer, then your counting starts from 0, not from 1. You can define the size of array while creating it. Like if you want to save 10 numbers, then we will define the size of array as 10. Similarly, for saving 100 elements, we will define the size as 100. We can also take this size from user. Now let's see the syntax of array. First comes type of array. If you want to save integer number,
then type will be int. If you want to save strings, then type will be string. Same thing for float and double. After time comes the name of an array. In our case, it's a num. And then open and close square bracket. Then equal to sign and then new keyword to initialize the memory for this array. After it, type of the array and size of array in the square bracket. You can see the syntax on your screen. Now let's understand array in the details with the help of example. Consider we want to write a program where we will take 5 numbers as an input from a user and then we will save this 5 number in an array. After saving, we will print these 5 numbers on the screen. It is a simple program, but you will understand the concept of array with this example. Now let's write the class and main function. If you want to understand what is public static void main, then you can check out my short video for it. Now let's define the integer array with the size 5. We are defining an integer array because we want to store a number. If we want to save string, then we will define an array of a string. We have learned that if we want to save numbers in an array, then we can save them with the help of indexes. Like for saving element at the 0 position, we will use num of 0. For saving at the first position, we will use num of 1 and so on. Similarly, if you want to access the number at the 0 position, then you can use num of 0. For accessing the element at the first position, you can use num of 1 and so on. You can print this element, you can add this element, and whatever operations you want to perform, you can perform on this element. Now, instead of taking static input, we will take input from user using scanner class. We will use sc.nextIt to take integer as an input from a user. We will replace all the static numbers to the user inputs. Now, you can see that as number increases, then our line of code will also increase. Like for saving 10 numbers, we have to write 10 lines. So to reduce the line of code, we can use a loop. We will write a loop from 0 to n, where n is the size of array. So to make the size of array more flexible, we will take the size of array from user and save it into the variable called n. While initializing array, instead of putting the static variable, we will use this n variable. Now user can define how many numbers he want to enter and user can define the size of array. Now let's write the loop from 0 to n. Inside this loop, we will take the input from user. We will use I as an index for the array. So first statement in the loop, we will ask user to enter the ith element, and after it we will store this element at the I position in an array using num of I is equal to sc.nextInt. So when loop starts, then initial value of I will be 0. So user will enter the first element and it will save at the 0th location. For second iteration, I value will become 1. Then user will again enter the value and this value will be saved at the first location. And same things goes till the n number. Once loop is ended, we will have all the elements stored in an array. You can access the elements using the indexes like num of 0, num of 1, or you can write a loop for it. Now let's write a loop for printing the elements. Again, we will write a loop from 0 to n. First statement will print the value of index I and second statement will print the value stored at that location. We will get the value using num of I. We will put this num of I statement inside our system.out.println statement. So for the first iteration, I will equal to 0 and then we will print the value at the 0th location. For the next iteration, I's value will change to 1. Then we will print the value at the first location and so on. I hope you would have understand the concept of array. If you have any questions, you can ask it in the comment section. That's it for today's video. If you like this video, then please subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching.
Hello everyone, welcome to the CodeVerse. In this video, we will learn about what is Arraylist, why do we need it, and how Arraylist works. Arraylist is created to overcome the limitations of an array. So before understanding Arraylist, we need to learn what are the limitations of an array. As we all know, array is a collection of the same type of elements and we have to define the size of array while creating it. For example, if we have to store 5 elements, then we have to define the size of an array 5 before adding the elements into it. So we should know the size of array before defining it, but in real life, it is very difficult to guess the size of array. Let's understand this with the help of example. Consider I have to develop a software for a hospital system. So for storing patient name, I have created an array of a size 100. Our program will work perfectly for 100 patients. But what if 101 patient comes? Here, our program will fail because we can only store 100 elements in our array. So in real life, we cannot predict how many numbers user want to save in the array. Some of you might say that we should define the size of array as too large, like 10,000. So when we define the size of array, then Java will allocate the memory for all the elements in an array. Means if we are defining the size of array as 10,000, then Java will allocate the memory for all 10,000 elements. And if we are storing only 100 or 200 elements, then we are wasting a lot of memory. So most important limitation of an array is we have to define the size of array while creation. How can we overcome this limitation? Here Arraylist comes into the picture. Consider Arraylist as a smart array which will automatically increase its size when needed.
So we don't have to define the size of Arraylist while creating it. Arraylist will automatically resize itself for us. Initial size of Arraylist is 10, means memory will be allocated for only 10 elements. Once Arraylist is 75% full, it will automatically increase its size by 50%. Means when we add the 7th element, then Arraylist will automatically increase its size to 15, that is by 50%. Arraylist uses array in the backend for storing the elements. So Java cannot actually resize the array. For increasing the size of Arraylist from 10 to 15, Java will automatically create a new array with the size 15, and then Java will automatically copy all the elements to the new array. And once it is done with the copying, then the old array will be deleted. Arraylist comes with a lot of built-in function such as sort function, which will sort the array list. We will learn about more such a function in the next section of video. Let's understand the syntax of Arraylist. Arraylist is a part of java.util package. So to use Arraylist, we have to import it using import java.util.star statement. It will allow us to use all the classes which are present in java.util package. After it, we have to create an Arraylist in our main method. Its syntax is keyword Arraylist. Then in angular bracket, we have to define the type of Arraylist. Means if we want to store the strings, then we will define type as a string. After it, name of Arraylist. We will keep name of our Arraylist as friends. After it, equal to operator and new keyword, and then name of a class, that is Arraylist, and then again type in the angular bracket and then open and close brackets. It's the normal syntax that we use to create the object of a class. That is first class name, then object name, then equal to operator, and then constructor. Now our Arraylist is ready to add elements. We have to use add function to add elements. We can pass the name or string to the add function, and it will automatically get added to the next index in an Arraylist. So let's add the 5 elements in an Arraylist. So 5 strings that we want to store are Rose, Rachel, Joey, Chandler, and Phoebe. Similar to array, we can access the element in an Arraylist using index. So to access the element at index 2, we have to use get method and pass 2 as a parameter to that method. So if we use friends, which is the name of our Arraylist dot get 2, then it will return a Joey. Similarly, if we want to know how many elements are stored in an Arraylist, then we have to use size function. In our case, it will return 5 because we have 5 elements stored in our list. If we want to get an index of any element in an Arraylist, then we can use index of function and then pass element to it. Means if I want to know at what index Chandler is saved, then I will use friends.index of Chandler. So this statement will return a 3, which is the index of a Chandler. And if element is not present, then index of function will return -1. So index of function is also used for searching the element. Similarly, you can perform a lot of operation in an array like sorting, removing elements, etc. You can see the syntax on the screen. That's it for today's video. If you like this video, then please subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching.
Hello everyone, welcome to the CodeVerse. In this video, we will learn about the difference between double equal to operator and equals method with respect to strings in Java. Double equal to operator and equals method are used to check if strings are equal or not, and some developers use them alternatively. But what is the exact difference between them? Answer to this question lies in how strings are stored in the backend of a Java. Consider we want to create a string with the value CodeVerse and then store it in str1 variable. When we use string str1 is equal to CodeVerse expression, then Java will create an object in a string pool with the value CodeVerse and return its reference. So string variable in Java don't store the actual string. It stores the reference to the object in a string pool. So now we want to create another variable with the name str2 and the same value CodeVerse. Then Java won't create another object in a string pool. It will give reference to the same object. You can check out my video on immutable string in Java for more information. So now you can see that our two variables, that is str1 and str2, are storing the reference of the same object in a string pool. So double equal to operator is used to check if these two variables are storing the reference to the same object in a string pool or not. Means if we write str1 double equal to str2, then it will return true. Now let's see what will happen when we create a string with a new keyword. When we use expression like string str3 is equal to new string CodeVerse, then Java will create a new object in a string pool. Now you can see that str2 and str3 contains the reference to the different object with the same value. So if we write str2 double equal to str3, then it will return false. So equal to operator is used to check if two variables are pointing to the same object in a string pool or not. Now if we don't want to check the reference, we just want to check the values of a two variable. So here equals method comes into the picture. Equals method is used to check the values of a two string. Now if we write str2 dot equals str3, then it will return a true. So equals method checks the value and double equal to operator checks the reference. I hope you have understood the difference between double equal to operator and equals method. If you like this video, then please subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. Hello everyone, welcome to the CodeVerse. In this video, we will learn about the abstract class and why we use it with the help of real life example. Consider, we got a job to create a software for all the banks in India like SBI, HDFC, ICICI, etc. For developing softwares, we will create a separate class and functions for every bank. Since this is a big task, so we will split this task into the teams. Like developer 1 will develop a class for SBI, developer 2 will develop a class for HDFC, and so on. Now, I want all these developers to implement some method in this class like interest rate method. Each bank can have different interest rate, like SBI will have 8% interest rate, HDFC will have 9% interest rate, and so on. Since there are different developers which are implementing these classes, how will I force them to implement the interest rate method in all the classes? Here, abstract class comes into the picture. An abstract class is a class that has abstract method in it. So let's understand what is an abstract method. The abstract method is a method that has only method declaration but doesn't have the definition. All the classes which will inherit abstract class are forced to override this method into them. Overriding means all the child classes have to write the definition or a specific implementation of this method into them. So let's come to our problem, that is banking system. We want to force all the developers to implement some method in all the classes. So we can use abstract class over here. We will create an abstract class bank which has the abstract method rate of interest, and all the classes like SBI, HDFC will inherit this bank class. Now bank class, which is an abstract class, will act as a parent class for SBI, HDFC and other classes. So it is mandatory for these classes to redefine the abstract method in their body, otherwise they will get a compile time error. So all the methods which we want to force all the classes to implement will be listed in the abstract class, and even if some developer forget to implement this method, then he or she will get the compile time error. Now let's see the syntax of abstract class. Abstract class is like a normal class with the abstract keyword at the beginning. Similarly, abstract method is like a normal method with the abstract keyword at the beginning. Now you can see on the screen that we have defined the abstract class bank and abstract method rate of interest. Now all other classes will inherit it. For example, SBI class can inherit the bank class with the help of extends keyword. You can check out my video on inheritance for more information. So if we don't define the interest rate method in SBI class, then Java will throw an compile time error saying that SBI class must implement the abstract method interest rate. To fix this error, we just have to implement the definition of interest rate method in SBI class. Now let's see the some properties of abstract class. First is we cannot create the object of abstract class because the definition of some method might be missing in the abstract class. This class will only act as a parent class to other classes. Second is abstract class can also have abstract as well as non-abstract method. Means along with abstract method which doesn't have the definition, we can also write the method which has the definitions. Third is abstract class can have the final methods. You can check out my video on final keyword for more information. And the last is abstract class can have the constructor as well as static methods. That's it for today's video. If you like this video, then please subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. Hello everyone, welcome to the CodeVerse. In this video, we will learn about the access modifiers, that is public, private, protected and default with the help of real life analogy. All the object-oriented programming concepts are inspired from the real life. So let's understand the concept of access modifier with the real life analogy. Consider a person named Ross. Ross has a wife and two children named Ben and Emma. Emma lives with Ross and Ben is living with his ex-wife called Carol. Ross has a lot of information, but he wants to control with whom he wants to share that information. For example, Ross has 2 PhD degrees, so he wants this information to share with everyone in the world. That is, this information should be publicly available. Similarly, in Java program, the information that we want to share with every other class will be declared as public. Means if we use public with any variable, then any class in the program can access that variable. Now coming back to Ross, some information Ross only shares with his children, like information about his money. Ross has lot of money, so information about money like how much money he has, where this money is stored is shared only with his children. Doesn't matter if his son lives in his house or not. Similarly, in Java program, information that we want to share only with the child classes will be declared as protected. Means if we use protected with any variable, then that variable will be shared with all the child classes. That is, all the classes which will be inherited from the parent class. Even if child class is present in the different package, it can access that variable. So protected keyword is used to restrict the information to the child classes.
Now coming back to Ross, some information Ross only shares with the member of his house, like where the backup key of the house is kept and the password of Wi-Fi. Similarly, in Java program, information that we want to share with every other class within the same package will be declared as default. If we don't use any other access specifier, then it will be considered as a default. For example, string key location will be shared with every other class in the same package. Again, coming back to Ross, some information Ross doesn't share with anyone, like he had 5 girlfriends in the past and he is still in contact with all of them. So he doesn't share this information with anyone, means this information is private to him. Similarly, in Java program, information that we don't want to share with anyone will be declared as a private. For example, integer variable number of girlfriends will be accessed only within the same class. This information won't be shared with any other class. So private keyword is used if we don't want to share this information with any other classes. So similar to Ross, if we want to restrict the access of information, then we have to use access modifiers. That's it for today's video. If you like this video, then please subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. Can you explain interface with the real life example? Interface is a special type of class in Java that has only abstract method. An abstract method is a method that has only method declaration but doesn't have the method definition or method body. So what's the use of such a class which has only method declaration? The interface acts as a blueprint or a parent class to other classes. Every class which will inherit the interface has to implement or write down the definition of all the methods in the interface. Consider the example of banking system. RBI and our government have defined some rules for banking system, like every bank should have credit and deposit money feature. Every bank should give ATM cards to their users for withdrawing money and so on. To implement this feature, we will create an interface and list down all the mandatory features in it, and all the classes which will inherit from this bank interface have to compulsory implement this feature. If they forget to implement it, then Java will throw an error. Means if SBI and HDFC classes are inheriting from bank interface, then we have to implement all the functions mentioned in the bank interface. So let's declare the interface with the name bank. For defining the interface, we have to write the interface keyword and then name of interface. In our case, it's a bank. Rest syntax will be like defining the normal class and normal methods. Every bank should have the credit and deposit feature. So we have to declare the credit and deposit function in our interface. Every class which will inherit from the bank interface has to implement all the methods declared in bank class. Means if HDFC is inheriting the bank class, then it's mandatory for HDFC class to implement credit and deposit method. Otherwise, Java will throw an compile time error saying that you should implement the inherited abstract method. We have to use implements keyword for inheriting the bank interface. You can check out my video on inheritance for more information. Now let's see some important points about interface. First is interface only acts as a parent class for other classes. We can also consider it as a blueprint for other classes. Second is interface can only have the static, constants and abstract methods. Means we cannot write the body of any function in interface. Third point is based on the difference between abstract class and interface. The major difference between abstract class and interface is that abstract class can have non-abstract methods also, but interface can only have the abstract methods. The interface is also used to implement multiple inheritance in Java. Soon I will create a video on how to implement multiple inheritance using interface. Follow my channel for more such videos. Thank you for watching. Do you know what is deadly diamond problem of multiple inheritance and how we can solve it using interface? Multiple inheritance means one child class can have 2 or more parent classes. Now let's understand what is a problem with multiple inheritance. Consider a parent class P which has one method called print value. Now consider 2 child classes A and B which are inheriting from this parent class B. Now due to inheritance, both A and B classes will receive the copy of print value method. These classes can write their own implementation of print value method. Now suppose if multiple inheritance are allowed in Java and we are inheriting child class C from these 2 parent classes, then in the child class we will have 2 methods with the same name print value. One of them is from parent class A and another is from parent class B. So when we call print value method, then Java compiler will get confused about which method should it call. Should it call the print value method of parent class A or should it call the print value method of parent class B? Now you can observe that the structure of this inheritance looks like a diamond, and that's why this problem is called as deadly diamond problem. That's the major reason why multiple inheritance is not allowed in Java using classes. Now let's see how we can solve this problem using interface. The interface is a special type of class which has only method declaration, means it will only have the default and abstract method, and all the child classes which will inherit from this interface have to override this abstract method in their body. Otherwise Java will throw an compile time error. But if interface is inheriting from another interface, then the child interface may or may not have the default implementation of the abstract method. So even if you don't write the default implementation of this abstract method, then Java won't throw an compile time error. To summarize it, if class is inheriting interface, then class has to implement all the methods listed in the interface. But if interface is inheriting another interface, then it is not mandatory for the child interface to implement all the method. So let's replace our classes with the interface. Now consider that print value is an abstract method, means we have not defined this method in parent class B. So this method will get extended to child class A and B. Both of this interface will receive a copy of this method. And since interface can have abstract method, Java won't throw any error even if we don't define this method. Now consider a class C which will inherit the parent interface A and B. Since C is a class, and in class we can't have the abstract method, then we have to override this print value method. If we don't override this method, then Java will give an compile time error. So when we try to access the print value method in class C, then Java will access to this overridden method. In this way, Java compiler won't get confused about which method should it call. Another scenario is if default implementation of this method is present in parent interface B and it is not overridden in child interface A and B, then class C can directly access to this default method from the parent interface B. C don't need to override this print value method. But if the default implementation of this method is already present in both the parent interface, then we have to override this method in child class. In this way, Java solves the deadly diamond problem of multiple inheritance with the help of interface. If you like this video, then please subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching.